All right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast powered by our friends over at X2 Power. Boys, we are back in the saddle tonight. As always, I'm your host, Bailey Eichbrett, and joined with me is the captain who's been holding down the fort for Serious Angler for a while now.
Trying to.
Mr. Andy Full, as always, and the man, Mr. Business from the Bass Boat, Mr. Adam Deacon down below here. What's going on, boys? I feel like it's been a long time.
It has been since all three of us have been in the cube together.
No joke. Part of that's like without the fantasy fishing shows. I mean, the elites are on a big break, and then all of us are busy fishing, man. But it's good to all be back together.
Heck yeah. Andy, you call it the cube. I kind of like it doesn't make any sense, but I like calling this the octagon, especially for fantasy fishing shows. When we go at it, we should call it the octagon.
Yeah, perfect. Fight night. We'll call it fight night. Welcome to fight night. We should get like fight night music cued at the start of the fantasy fishing show.
We can make that a segment for the fans. Is like with each fantasy fishing show, we take like 3 different duos of like, would you take Corey Johnston or Lee Livesey in a fight, and then just put it to a vote and see who it's.
That'd actually be pretty good.
That would be hilarious.
Maybe we can get one of our sponsors or something to plug a giveaway for that. Like do like a Roundtree Robin every week.
Will you sponsor our segment where we talk about Elite Series pros fighting each other every week?
Duking it out.
We have a lot of business to get out of the way before we start talking about tonight's show. And tonight's show is kind of exciting because I feel like we always say it. Like, I feel like we get to a new season, we're like, oh, it's one of our favorite times of the year. But like, I think when you're just so obsessed with fishing, the whole year is kind of fun in its own way. But summer fishing is fun because when it gets tough, when you can figure out the minute stuff, it's a lot of fun. So I think talking about unique summer baits, because everyone typically has a good idea of what to throw in the summer. I mean, if you have a wacky rig, a jig, and a topwater, you'll catch fish just about everywhere in the country in the summer months. But we're going to try to hone in on some very unique stuff to throw. That might be just a little bit different, but before we do, a good friend of ours on the show, Mr. Caleb Bell, Mr. Bass Quest, unfortunately, I guess fell off a ladder while working. As for people that know him, he's one of the hardest working guys you'll meet, and their family's in a little bit need of a help right now. So we are, if you guys can, if you have a few bucks to spare, again, we're not asking you to, but if you can and you're feeling generous, there's a link down in the description, and I'll put it here in the chat as well. If you can help them out, that would mean the world to us and to the Bell family. So sucks to see that, but I hope Caleb is going to recover quick and we'll get down to Tennessee and get him back on the water. But again, if you can help, that'd be awesome. And without further ado, let's keep going through some of the news we have to get through. Real fast, boys. But that new Omnia app is like legit. Like I got an email today that bait fuel is in stock, and I want to make some content around bait fuel and actually see if it's legit. And I got the email, went right to the app, and ordered it like with 2 taps. It was pretty slick.
Yeah, the one thing that I wish is like I'm actually glad, but I wish it could happen is it like stores your credit card information so you don't have to pull out your card and type it in. That would make it even easier. But I
did the 2 taps with PayPal.
Oh, I use PayPal, so I have to log in. I have like a 2-step verification.
I don't have that.
That's a PayPal issue.
What was that?
So that's a PayPal problem.
Yeah, which is
PayPal
fine
problem,
because
I
like to do that and make sure everything's good because I have my business and personal stuff going through the same account on PayPal, so I got to be careful what card I use. But the app is awesome. You can also file all like your fishing reports from it, check fishing reports, find baits through fishing reports, and order them all in like 2 taps. Just like Bailey said, it's a cool deal.
It's a low key, like those fishing reports though, really fast, not to like go full sponsor plug here, but like those fishing reports are kind of a low key, really good way to get a good idea of what's going down at the lake you're going to, especially if you're like at a big place like Chickamauga, where I was just at, where there's a lot of people fishing it. So therefore there's going to be a lot of up-to-date fishing reports. Like it's kind of a pretty good way to get a vibe on what's going on. And obviously you got to read through the BS on what reports are good and what's not, but you know,
sure.
Right. You got to get a vibe on who wrote the report and kind of get a gauge of like, should I rely on this? Should I take any value? But either way, it's something to look at and get you a little bit of an idea.
I don't think anyone too like submitting fishing reports. They might hold back some information, right? Like as far as specifics, or maybe there's some juice bait that they really don't want to talk about. But I don't think anyone's out there to completely mislead someone's direction.
There's
You know
no
what I mean?
maliciousness going on.
Yeah, it's like
No. I'm gonna start dropping my waypoints on there.
You would.
smart call.
No, I definitely wouldn't do that.
Middle of the lake.
Yeah, the water, bro. Would you catch him on a hook? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna submit a fishing report with just a treble hook. Mike Longham, baby.
Oh, now that's just not right.
That's funny.
Next order of business is boys. Next Tuesday is episode 300.
Ooh, can you believe
300.
we made it to 300?
I mean, technically speaking, when you add up the business from the bass boat shows and the fantasy fishing shows, we're like 350. But like 300 serious angler segment shows, like holy crap,
It's a lot.
it is a lot. Something to be freaking proud of, but it's going to be a party next Tuesday. So, I mean, there might be like 5% learning stuff next Tuesday, but like just a note for the fans. If you want just like fun stories, laid back, you know, our OGs will know what the not so serious segments were. And it's basically going to be a not so serious segment. We're going to get a bunch of friends on, get them on for different segments. And then we're also going to run a big social media giveaway where all of our partners are getting in on it to give back to some guys. Like $200 Blackfish gift card. We're going to get swag packs from Do It Molds, from Hobie Eyewear, from Omnia.
Big
like it's pretty sweet. We're going to have a 50 amp lithium X2 power battery to give away. Like it's badass. So we're going to run it on social media. But for folks that are listening to this episode, so if you're tuning on YouTube, you're getting an early scoop too. Once this goes up tomorrow morning, you're obviously listening right now. You have an early scoop to get in. And we're going to post this on Thursday to social media. But if you're listening to this, if you leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we'll give you 5 extra entries and you get early entry into that giveaway. So just leave us a rating and review. Just comment like episode 300 as part of your comment, just so we know that you're in on the giveaway. So it's going to be pretty sick. There's a lot of stuff to be given away. I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah. Is it all going to be one big package, Bailey?
One big package. So one big winner chicken dinner.
That's
gonna be slick.
Lottery. It's like
Man.
fishing lottery.
Yeah.
Fishing lottery.
Oh man.
Like that is it.
Too bad I can't get in on that. That is a prize pack to win.
Yeah, we might have to like try to rearrange the rules and you know, insider trading to see if one of us can get in on that. No, I'm just kidding.
We're all gonna
but that
have,
being
like,
said
last
too,
names as first names to enter.
Right. Yeah, we're gonna make fake accounts. We're gonna make a fake account to enter that giveaway. But one thing I want to bring up to you is we are working on an apparel shop. We're trying to get you guys some apparel, hats, hoodies, all that jazz. We're working on it. When we get time, this is the craziest time of year for the three of us. So I promise we're working on it because we get asked all the time. And then lastly, last order of business here. Thursday, we have our St. Lawrence River Fantasy Fishing Show. So you want to talk about winning more stuff? Come join us Thursday night live. And then also peep Adam's recent episode with Sean Budiak from X2 Power talking about Lithium versus AGM. I don't know, Adam, if you want to give some more insight about the episode and then what's to come on Monday.
Yeah. So most recent episode that just went up yesterday on the 4th basically was breaking down AGM versus Lithium, the actual needs of those two, what you kind of gain, what you lose. We also go into just how the future really is Lithium when it comes to everything. And we talked a lot about just, I don't know, Sean is such a battery geek and really knows everything about the industry in general, not just with lithium batteries on bass boats and stuff. So it was cool to pick his brain on like what vehicle batteries will do, if we'll see like full electric outboards, kind of went deep into what lithium looks like in the future. So it was fun.
And it's pretty cool too to follow along with their pro team over there and see, like, especially the guys that don't do the Airbnb deal, that travel like RVs and stuff, the different unique ways that lithium, even AGM as well, that become in handy to have that premium power source. Like you don't realize how much like battery you actually need, especially when that's like your life touring, you know, out there, especially, or just your outdoorsman in general.
And just the ability to charge it all quick, man. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing.
Right.
Just having that quick charge if you can't be at an electric campsite forever and that kind of thing. So yeah, so that was all this week's episode. Next week's episode, I'm really excited for. We've got Todd Castledine coming on to Business from the Fast Boat. Basically, he is, has been.
We're big time now.
There you go.
Big time.
But he is well known for making a full-time career out of this sport in a area, right? He is a regional professional, is what I would call it. He has gone out on tour before, but he is someone great to speak on what to look for in tournaments when it comes to a payout. If you're looking specifically at making money at this, as well as the pros and cons of going pro tour level versus your expenses on making potentially more money locally, depending on where you live. So it's it'll be an interesting show, and I'm excited to get him on for next Monday.
Heck yeah, dude.
Awesome.
Well, boys, that kind of gets our news out of the way for everybody, or our order of business. And I think now is the exciting part. Let's start talking baits. Because, I feel like we said, like what we prefaced with this show with was, in the summertime, you could show up to the lake, pretty much almost any lake in the country, have a topwater, have a jig, drop shot, whatever. Pretty basic stuff and catch bass. But there's definitely certain times or certain baits that can either catch bigger fish, catch you more bites, or just simply throwing something different that can kind of give you an extra edge. And that's kind of where we want to preface this show around. It's just something unique that you don't see every day being thrown, especially in the summer months. So who wants to start it off here? Who wants to kick it off? And Andy, I think you're itching to kick us off here.
Well, let me ask this. We'll kind of ask the viewers too real quick. We'll give it like a 30-second countdown. Do they want a smallmouth bait first or a largemouth bait?
Porque no los dos?
Yeah.
That means why not both in Spanish?
Well, no, just to kick it off. Like, what should we start? Smallmouth? Should we start largemouth? Because I'll be honest, I have one smallmouth unique bait and then 4 largemouth stuff.
There we go. We got a smallmouth vote here from Chris.
All right. So I guess we'll give
just
it here.
Kick it off, Andy.
Yeah. All right. So unique smallmouth bait for river situations. Something I don't talk about a lot that I'll drag every once in a while is the Queen Hammerhead, like shaky head.
Ooh, the hammer shake.
The hammer shake with the zipper worm, or like poor boy's darter.
What is a zipper worm? I don't think I've ever actually heard
zipper
of
worm is basically like a grub style darter, but it has a curly tail on it.
Oh, is that a 4-inch? Or is that a 5?
It's like 3.5, 4.
Oh, okay.
You throw it on like 12-pound fluoro on a bait caster, and you can kind of hop it, drag it, hop it, and it only works for me in like big time current situations. This is a 5/8 ounce head, but you don't get a lot of bites on it, but usually when they do eat it, it's a giant for the Niagara over here off of Lake Erie. That this bait will start playing for me in about 3 weeks on the Niagara when they get tired of seeing like Ned rigs and swim baits and drop shots.
So Andy, in that situation, and I'm just thinking through, like, especially when we'll see the Mississippi River later this year with the elites, and something that I was catching some fish on Lake Oahe here recently, and it was spawn to starting to become post spawn. But I'm curious, do you ever throw a biffle bug at all, or a swing style head? Doesn't have to necessarily be a biffle bug, but you ever rip something like that on the river?
Yes and no. When they get shallow, I've messed around with it. Like, I have some really shallow rock bars that we can fish. The issue is when you really want to throw that bait, we have a lot of grass, and it's not like an eelgrass. It's a long stringy grass. So when I am fishing deeper, that's when I'll go to this. If I'm fishing shallow, I'm almost always throwing like a topwater or a single swim bait or an A-rig, just to kind of keep it up over top of that grass.
Gotcha.
But there are lakes in New York where a swing head crushes fish. Well, I'm not dropping names of lakes here, Bailey. I'm just saying there are times and places that it crushes them when nothing else will bite it.
That's going to be my first one, just because I think it's a reaction style deal. I mean, to me, in the summertime when it gets tough, like, it's either super finesse and going slow, or making them react, whether that be a top water or some sort of way to get a reaction strike throwing a square bill fast for the shallow fish, or excuse
Well,
me. That kind of
really quick. I started to cut you off, Deacon. Are you about to go into your first bait?
No, I'm just my first bait's going to be a swing head. It wasn't originally.
Shit.
Like that's where it went.
All right. I just wanted to, when we do this too, we should like, I just thought about now that we should do it to like, if we're really going to dial this in, as we talk about the setups we throw it on too.
Okay.
Just really fast. So Andy, if you want to call it that setup quick before Deacon continues.
All right. So setup, I used to use like a 7.2 to 7.4 medium heavy. Now it's going to be the Alpha Angler clutch 7.5 with 12-pound fluoro, and an 8-to-1 reel because I'm dragging it in 2 to 3 mile an hour current at times. So I need a high speed reel to catch up to them when I feel that thump, because you get a lot of drag from the fluorocarbon. So you got to reel and really like sweep hook set into them hard to drive the hook home. But yeah, 12-pound fluoro on a clutch, 8-to-1 reel. Yeah,
I dig it.
All right, go ahead, Deacon.
I'm probably going to be on 12 to 15. Probably more so 15, just banging around on rocks and that kind of a thing. And the rod I throw it on actually is a very old rod, and I don't even know.
Just dangling.
Yeah. I am hypnotizing you. I was going to call a swing head first too. I love how on par we are. I'm just going to hypnotize our viewers while you talk about.
Well, I mean, technically, right? Like it's a football head on like the hammerhead. It's very similar, but it's different situations.
Well, and how do you guys fish a swing head? I'm curious. So like how I don't have baits in front of me here, but I wind a swing head on the bottom like it's a crankbait, and I'm always maintaining bottom contact. That is how I fish a swing head, and it's literally a reaction. So it's the weirdest thing. It's like, why am I fishing soft plastic like a crankbait? But that is how I was taught to fish it. And basically winding that thing, and then in my opinion, you need to have a rod that's got some parabolicness to it. So I fished on a medium heavy, but it's like a 7 to 7.3 medium heavy, but it is a pretty flexible medium heavy. I've found I can't use too stiff of a rod, and to me, it's got to have some forgiveness to drive that hook, because you almost feel that fish and then you lean in, and that's I don't know, that on a, I mean, I throw it on a 7 whatever, I don't even know, 7 to blank whatever, 7 or 8.
It's a good range. I mean, yeah,
something fast, just to be able to catch them.
No, that's a good point too, because like the swing head, I didn't learn until like a while after throwing a swing head that you're like with Tommy Biffle, how it's like he was straight reeling it like you're talking about, like the reaction way, how it was intended to be thrown. I didn't realize that's actually how you throw it. I had assumed, and I had found this early in my learning curve as I spill terminal tackle all over here. I found it earlier in my learning curve of fishing, and when I saw that football head, I had just assumed I'm supposed to drag it and like fish it slow.
Soft plastics, right?
Yeah. And so how I had gotten to it is just throwing something different than a football jig. And what I'd do is like, if I felt a good rock coming over, I'd hold it in place. And like what I've quickly learned as like throwing it around in shallow water to like just see how it looked, visually, it would dance a lot in place. And that's kind of how I'd get a lot of bites. You could just kind of knock the slack in your line. But one thing I actually found too, my old fishing buddy and I, Nate Woislaw, back when Canisius and here in New York used to be a good lake and actually had grass in existence, we'd used to flip it. Like instead of just a normal Texas rig or a jig, we'd flip a swing head. And there was times where I was using a Texas rig and Nate was using a swing head, and he'd smoke me, and we'd throw the same bait, same weight. So it's just kind of something a little bit different. But I feel like that bait, the swing head is so versatile. You could basically use it for whatever you want.
Like super, super common in Oklahoma and that region for that kind of reason. I mean, you can flip it and skip it behind a dock, and you can cover water with it so fast. And it's so natural to me, and it works really well on smallmouth too. Generally, I go down size wise. I don't throw a full size biffle bug for a smallmouth. Something like a Rage Menace, something like that with a little bit smaller hook, like a 3/0 hook. Just pertaining that smallmouth has smaller mouths, and really trying to imitate a crawfish in that situation. But grinding that thing on the bottom, I'll go a pretty heavy sized swing head. I would say I don't really generally go under a 1/2 ounce. I'm normally looking 1/2 to 3/4 is generally probably the range I'm sitting in, and sometimes even a little heavier than that. If you're really trying to grind bottom and just maintain bottom contact and cover water with it, and it just looks like crawdad scurrying around, and they eat it, man. It's a reaction. It goes by their face.
Heck yeah. Swing head's one that like I go in phases where there's times I throw it a lot, there's times I don't throw it, and it's sort of starting to phase into my flipping where there's that ring DWG that I think Fighter really brought to light after catching him good on Champlain.
Mm-hmm.
That's one I like.
I have not messed with that at all. I'd like to try it.
I like it. I mean, I'm a fan. It kind of gives it a more natural fall.
Makes sense. I mean, yeah.
So my first one that I like to throw a lot, and Andy may or may not get mad at me for talking about it. It's a free rig. I love the free rig for largemouth and smallmouth. It kind of depends on what I'm fishing for. Like if I'm largemouth, I'll beef it up a little bit, but smallmouth, I'll downsize to 10 to 12 pound, especially depending on, how deep I'm fishing. But I mean, it's super simple for folks that have not heard us talk about the free rig on the show. It's basically your line goes through. You can use an EWG. You can get really creative with the hook. This is just a small 3/0 EWG. Throw in like a Berkeley creature hog or a gilly or something, like a lot of people use like the G-Crack bellows gill. And it goes line through that EWG, no knot, like straight free line, and then to typically your cylinder drop shot weight. I think we're going to go through some of the new stuff coming out of ICAST, and there's some different weights that are coming out that I think might be more ideal for a free rig. But essentially what it is like your bait is with that drop shot weight, and it's your bait can basically be on a free swinging deal here. And essentially what is supposed to happen is you cast and your bait goes down, your weight goes on the bottom, your bait follows. And when you lift up, it comes with, and when you release, that drop shot weight goes to the bottom and your bait slowly will fall behind it, giving that free swinging action. Therefore the free rig, just something like super creative that you can get really kind of wild with, I think, compared to like your normal Texas rig where usually people peg it and that bait follows the weight. Whereas this is allowing you to reach a certain depth, but also have that more basically weightless presentation at a deeper depth.
Yeah.
Now I know we're talking summer stuff here, but have you ever thrown that on a bed?
Yeah. But like, I just like throw a Texas rig just cause I feel like, I don't know. I haven't tried it. I just feel like I haven't had to yet, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
It works. It's the only time I've ever caught a fish on a free rig.
Yeah, I've never thrown a free rig, so like first just never. But like to me, I'm either gonna be when I'm bed fishing, I'm throwing a Texas rig on the bottom or a drop shot. Like 95% of the time, those are the two things I'm doing bed fishing. Mm-hmm. And so to me, the free rig might be like or like a fluke or a weightless Senko, but like. It would be that version, but you can accurately put it like on the bed, and then probably that thing would dance very, very freely sitting on the bed.
That's a good idea, especially for like finicky largemouth, like down south.
Yeah, just when you're cycling baits,
like 3 hours. Right. Yeah. I will say too is the free rig won a couple co-angler events behind Chris Johnston, Chris Johnston, Mr. Sakai Ushio, who is from Buffalo. Tried to keep it hidden for a little bit, but we found out. We took the juice from him. But
was that all at the St. Lawrence? Both his wins?
St. Lawrence. I believe he's had some really dang good finishes around the country as well. He's like really good as a co-angler.
Yeah. Oh, there's some like that.
Yeah, but that one, I mean, the route I'm throwing that on is like a 7.4, 7.5. Typically what I've thrown it on was the Alpha Angler Clutch, which is a 7.5 medium, but really it's like a cross between a medium heavy, wouldn't you say, Andy?
Yeah,
I would say that. Yeah, I mean, I've felt a couple of those, but like it seems like that it's a little bit heavier than what you would kind of expect, but it's nice. It's parabolic. It'd be good for a swing head, to be honest with you. That'd be perfect. Yeah, for exactly what I'm talking about.
Definitely. I mean, that rod is like good for a lot of things, but like 15-pound fluoro, 7.3-1, nothing like crazy. I mean, it's basically kind of like a light Texas rig flipping setup that works perfect for it, but it's good from deep to shallow. So that's my first one. Free rig is awesome. Andy, what's your second one?
All right, so we're gonna stay on this line of like drop shot style fishing, free rig, but I'm gonna go a little bit beefier, and that is like some people call it a Bubba shot, some people call it a power shot, and it's a baby brush hog on like a 1/2 to 1 ounce weight, flipping it around grass on a flipping stick. You run like 30 to 50 pound braid and 20-pound fluoro, and you just flip it around like you would normally a flipping jig or a beaver style bait, and you throw it in the same places. You run like a 3/0 owner cover shot, straight shank hook in there. Usually I tend to go real long, like 2-foot leader, because I want that bait in a higher water column than those fish are used to seeing in the grass.
So long, interesting.
Yeah, I go real long with it. And I only ever fish it in like 8 to 15 foot of water.
Oh, okay.
And the reason is I want a higher presentation of water column than a lot of fish will see. Because a lot of times when you flip mats, I've noticed, or even just sparse grass, they eat it on the fall, right?
Sure.
If they're not eating it on the fall, you can almost hover it there in front of them and get them to come over and eat it. And now, one of the things I do, and this is going to be giving some juice away, is what I first thing in the morning, or if I'm practicing for a tournament, I want to see what color the bluegills are up shallow. So if I'm up shallow cruising and I see like chartreuse tails on the bluegills, I'll dip the tail chartreuse. If I see them all black, I'll go to like a straight black baby brush hog or just straight green pumpkin. Or if they're on crawfish and I catch one, he's spitting up craws and he's spitting out orange, then I'll dip the tails slight orange, just to have an idea. And it gets you a few extra bites.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah. I've seen you throw that. I've seen you in action with that thing. You're pretty gnarly with it.
Yeah, it helped us win that one tournament last year on one of the bays.
On one of those bays, one of those tournaments.
Yeah, one of those bays, one of those tournaments.
Come on. All right. Deacon, what's your second one?
Oh man, second bait in the summer. It's probably going to be very conventional, but I think you can get kind of funky with different baits. But I mean, to me, the summertime, again, I'm either going super finesse or I am going to go reaction and maybe sometimes big to get them to bite stuff. But second bait for me is just going to be a walking topwater. It's going to be generally, I like an oversized bait in the summer. I feel like I get more bites, bigger bites with it. Maybe not more bites, but definitely bigger bites. And as I kind of get into the fall time frame, that's when I'll start to downsize, get with poppers and smaller walking baits. But covering water, I'm probably going to be throwing a big walking bait, a big Whopper Plopper, those kinds of things. And I mean, I think everyone or people should be aware that those baits work good, just as good in the middle of the day in the afternoon as the morning. You just may get more bites in the morning, but you can catch a really big one at 2 in the afternoon when you're like, man, waiting for that kind of little afternoon bite to pick up before weigh in. And it's got the biggest fish like doing that before in a tournament.
What is your favorite walking bait, Deacon? Do you have one right now?
Yeah, I probably more times than not reach for a Vixen or that same mold. I'm not super particular on. I don't have any fancy old Vixen. I think I might have one left. But that style of top water seems to get a lot of bites. That mold's been traded over and over. I think Teckle has it now. So that one I've had good luck with. So that kind of a bit, that size and bigger to me, like he's either that or super spook, saltwater super spook. And then the Strike King Mega Dog, like that thing can pull fish out of places that you're like, wow, 2 pounds.
Louder, usually 2 louder is better when it comes to a walking bait. If you can hear it from 100 feet away, you got the right bait.
Yeah, and for me, it's just I'm always looking for that clear water generally when I'm looking for a top water light. But even on like a real windy day, and especially if you got sun, man, you can catch some really big fish on a walking bait, even in the wind, like one of those Mega Dogs. I'll generally upsize then, and those fish seem to see it from a long ways away.
Heck yeah. I want to throw in those Mega Dogs so bad. Like, what rod would you even throw that on?
I throw it on the Mega Dog. I've always thrown it on a 7.3 medium heavy. Lose makes this rod that, and I'm not affiliated with any rod company, so I don't have to be like, oh, this one and this one. Like Lose makes this rod that I love so much. I think I have 3 of them, and I only like that. I think this is my only Lose rod, and it's I don't even know if they still make it, but it's like one of their Lose light hammer rods or something, but it's a medium heavy that's got a good tip on it, and it has some parabolicness, but it's still pretty stout. And I love it for I can cast that rod so extremely well. I can skip with it, I can do all kinds of stuff, but because it has a little bit of parabolicness to it, I can throw a big walking bait like that. The rest of the time, I'm probably throwing it on a lighter, like a medium rod with a good parabolic tip. Or parabolic bend in the entire rod for that tackle size and smaller. But when I get to that big one, I mean, that thing's like throwing a glide bait out there. And yeah. I'm actually feel a little underpowered on that rod, but I would rather have that flexibility. Just treble hook bait, top water. I prefer a less stiff rod.
Is that a mono or is that a braid?
I'm always sorry. Go ahead. Well, I'll answer Bailey's first, Andy, and then I'll listen. But
yeah, we kind of fired both at you at the same time.
I'm always a braid guy on top water, and then every once in a while, if it's if I'm having issues with some kinds of braids, it seems like I'll have issues where smaller diameter treble hooks can get tangled on that cast to where the braid will get stuck in the treble hooks for some reason. I haven't quite figured out why that is, or maybe I'm just getting too excited and casting differently. But every once in a while, I will put a 20-pound mono leader connected to that braid, and that stiffness of that mono makes it land straight every single time. But if I get in a hurry or I am having to retie, I will just throw a straight braid.
Heck yeah.
Oh, I was going to ask what the blow up is like on that Mega Dog, because I've never seen that thing in action. Is it like just insanity when they eat that, or is it always just like a soft slurp and you're just like, oh, there he is, because it's such a big bait?
Man, I would say it's like a normal spook blow up, man. I mean, they seem to be coming with a vengeance. I mean,
so
it just
backs half out of the water, just gone.
Bowling ball flush, like, oh yeah, that's how it normally seems to be. Because I mean, think about it, like, I think about it with like frog fishing. Your smallest fish generally hit it the hardest, but when the bait's like 10 inches long or whatever it is, 8 inches long and wide, I feel like even a 3-pounder is like, man, I gotta whack this thing, and so they come up and smoke it pretty hard.
Fun.
Oh yeah.
Fun.
If I want to eat this thing, I gotta go all out for it.
Yeah.
All right, here's so my next one here is one I actually don't fish a lot, and I'm determined to fish more because people talked about it, but you don't really. It's really not talked about in depth, and that is the chicken rig. And it's kind of an interesting rigging to it, and essentially what it is you have an EWG almost like buried into your plastic, and I'll get into rigging here in a second. And you have like it's like a cross between a Texas rig and a Nico, if that makes any sense. So you have your Nico weight in the bottom, and then essentially how you rig it is like you take your EWG and you go, see if I can do this without like, you go through your plastic like you would a Texas rig. You come out and you fold it down so that your eyelet is in that bait, right? Like a Texas rig. And you basically are rigging a Texas rig lower in that bait, but then you can take, so you see how it's like that right now. My hands are probably not helping me at all. They're probably getting in the way horribly. But so where this is connected here, you push that eyelet through the other side, and you can tie your line to it. You guys can see that. And then you put it back in the plastic. So it's kind of an interesting bait, but this is an 1/8 ounce Nico tungsten. You could I throw it on a 7-foot medium heavy spinning rod with like 15-pound braid, 10-pound fluoro. And you can pitch that around grass lines, docks, whatever. You could fish it deep if you want. One thing I kind of like is with the Nico now, it could, especially with tungsten, it can show up a little bit better on forward facing. It can make for an interesting like fishing for isolated fish or something, or fishing offshore. Like I said, I haven't dove in too deep in this bait. I've thrown it, I've caught fish on it, but I haven't like really gotten to the nitty gritty because I think it's one that I overlooked and I want to play around with this summer. And I think some people are definitely overlooking it for sure. Could be like a weedless way to throw a Nico rig, through heavier-ish grass, if that makes sense.
And it's going to come down through vertically, so the same way the grass is,
right.
so you're going to get hung up a lot less.
Right. I'm almost kind of like trying to think of like if there's ways to throw bigger worms with casting gear. Yeah. Yeah. Whenever you get a comment like that, chicken rig doesn't work, don't try it. That typically means it probably works.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I was thinking, like, what if you took like a 5/0 or 6, maybe not 6, I don't know. I have to play around with it, but like a 5/0 Owner Beast EWG. You took like a Strike King bullworm and you put like a bigger Nico weight and then you flipped it on casting gear. It'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's it'd be like a Magnum
beans.
Like a Magnum weedless Nico rig, but for casting gear.
Is the bullworm? Oh, their bullworm's just like a mag shaky head, right? Like a mag.
Yeah, basically just like it's just a really thick finesse worm. Pretty much.
I like it.
That's probably a horrible description, but yeah, that's one I really want to dive into. I think it'd be kind of juicy, become a staple for my lineup anyway.
Yeah, I always forget about that rig. I've never thrown it, and I'm like,
either.
And I see it, and I'm like, that looks so good. Like, if you go down to like a 16th ounce weight and you're fishing docks, right, or even a 32nd, and you throw that underneath the dock, do you think a bass has ever seen a Senko or a stick bait come down at it like that?
Probably
not that direction, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you have a Texas rig or something, but it would kind of still be at an angle. But I think the biggest application to me, Andy, is what you touched on, is I think about like around reeds, like cattails and grass that is growing in that direction. I mean, I was kind of like thinking to myself when Bailey said that thing, I'm like, man, Bailey's just mentioning like off techniques. Like these are kind of crazy things that I haven't thought of. But like, I was like, man, this thing seems kind of whack to me. But to me, like that would be cool in a grass situation to where it just falls straight down rather than having to have your line be pulled the other direction when you lift it back up. I mean, you could just sit there and do all kinds of stuff.
Think about it this way too. If you go light enough weight on that and you're throwing it on like a 7-foot medium or medium heavy spinning gear and you're at like that 32nd ounce weight and you got a slight wind at your back and you throw it up underneath the dock with that natural current, it's almost going to backslide further into the dock.
That's a sneaky well, the first thing I thought of when he started putting it together is like, I have totally done a chicken rig on the back of I had a fish spawning under a piece of cover. Happens quite a bit, but like a good one during a tournament that I could not get to go. And I could not get a bait on the bed correctly. And I was trying to just figure this out. And I think it was in like either a high school tournament or early college tournament, but essentially put a nail weight in the back of a Senko, just on a Texas rig Senko, and skipped it in there, and it slid backwards. I mean, that weight just pulled it, and you can get it under things rather than like it falling straight. Like really, what's happening when you when you put a nail weight in the back of a Senko and you skip it, you'll watch it; it'll drift 1.5 feet, 2 feet back towards whatever you're casting at. So if there's a fish under cover, you can get it onto a bed that you could never get to.
Sneaky.
Yeah, so like they used to do that like with French fry, the old Zoom French fry or centipedes, and they'd put like a 1/0 hook in it and shove a nail weight in the back and throw it on spinning gear, and it would cause it to backslide.
I like it.
Yeah. And get it back in areas where you can't. I've tried it, and I would literally watch like a black centipede, and I would throw it in there, and it would literally on an open bail, it would slide backwards. But I never caught fish doing it. But I'm like, I could see where one day this would work, and then I forgot about it.
Well, think about it too. Like, say you're fishing a grass flat, and like typically when you fish a grass flat, you're trying to pick out those chunks. It's either like there's holes in the grass, or there's where the grass is more condensed and you can punch those. Like, say you're in a team tournament and you got one guy that's punching those condensed patches and you're trying to be efficient. You got one guy just throwing this more
Or
finessey
holes.
bait into the holes. Could
Yeah.
be pretty interesting.
Yeah. And say he might get more bites or he might get less bites, but that one giant bite that you need because it's something that the fish haven't really seen. Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty intriguing stuff.
So
all right, what are we on? Third round? Third round? Kick us off, Andy.
One of my favorite things to do is throw topwater all day long, but not so much a walking bait. When I'm up shallow, just covering a ton of water, I pull out the old buzzard.
Whoa.
When it's
I thought you were going to say popper.
Nope. Bright blue, sunny sky, slick calm. For whatever reason, a buzzbait for me will get giant bites at random times. Dude. And you're banging off of everything. You want to bang it off every dock post you can, get hung up 15 times, and that you'll be like pulling it. I throw it on 30-pound braid and a 7.6 action rod because I'm making really long casts. But as you're pulling it through and you just kind of lift and move your rod tip, you can make that buzzbait change directions. You just want to run it into stuff. And as soon as it bounces off that pole, you'll see you're like, oh, yeah, it's a good one.
I want to know what goes through a bass's head, like when they see a buzzbait coming and it's going over their head. They're like, don't do it. Oh, God damn it, I got to do it.
Yeah.
It's so obnoxious, must kill.
Oh, dude, literally what it is, man.
Yeah. But it's funny, like with the walking bait thing, I wanted to touch on something different than Adam. I found sometimes in the summertime throwing a walking bait, like on the same conditions, bright, sunny, slick, calm. If you get the nose of it on a turn to hit a dock post, like a metal one, they'll come up and smoke it.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's just like
straight reaction, man.
Another bait that Alpha Angler clutches dynamite with is the buzz bait.
Yes. Yes. That rod is absolutely incredible for a lot of things.
I think that needs to be my next rod. Those things that you guys talk about it so much, and I thought through it, and I felt one before. Like that thing is handy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of buzzbaits for me changed after Gerald Swindle kind of exposed his setup to it. That 7.4 to 7.5 with like 17-pound fluoro.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had a problem losing fish on a buzzbait ever since I switched to that setup.
Yeah,
with fluoro. Interesting.
Yeah, I like a more moderate action rod when I run the braid. If you go fluoro, you can get away with a slightly more stout rod. And that's why I like the clutch. Like, and I'm not plugging a rod company that I'm like partnered with or anything, right? Like the clutch, you can no.
Literally, you are, Andrew. What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
As I said, I'm not plugging a rod. I'm not trying. Like Bailey got the clutch in his hands far before he did, and he's just like, I can throw a spinnerbait with it, I can throw a Whopper Plopper, I can flip with it, I can do this, and literally, it works for all of that. And it's a great fluorocarbon rod and a 30-pound braid rod. It can do both.
I flip it with 1 ounce weights, 80-pound braid.
It's fine.
No.
For Bailey.
Yeah. All right, DK, what's your third one, buddy?
Man, my third one is going to be a drop shot. So new and everything. But I'm going to say the biggest twist, I throw a drop shot a lot with a wacky rig style bait, whether that be a flick shake worm. I like a lot on a drop shot. A Senko, a small, 3-inch or a 4-inch Senko, I like a lot on a drop shot. And it's either that style, a wacky rig drop shot, if I can get away with it cover wise, or it's a drop shot, Texas rigged and into stuff around trees, around grass, whatever it may be. Generally, I'm throwing that on a VMC. I think it's a number 2. No, it'd be a 1/0. VMC 1/0, I think, is the one that I really like. I think it's literally Polinick setup. And generally going to have that around the Texas ribbed one, around cover is going to be on. I like 10 for the most part around the really kind of heavier stuff. Majority of the time, I'm probably 8 everywhere else. I kind of struggle getting way down to the 6s, 4s, and 5-pound test stuff. Unless I really have to, I'll go to 6, but 8 most of the time, and 10 if I'm around a little bit heavier cover.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
Good confidence.
And on that Texas rig stuff, it's generally a robo worm of some sort or a Zoom finesse worm, and that's more of a largemouth technique for me when I've got it Texas rigged, and it's going to be a longer worm, something like 6 to 8 inch range versus like a little, 3-inch bait, that kind of a thing.
Heck yeah. There's going to be some drop shot baits when we complete this and run through that new iCast new product stuff that's coming out. There's some new baits. I know Andy and I grabbed our attention that we're going to have to try this year. So my next one is one that, like, it's not a unique bait in the fact that I think this time of year they're throwing it pretty heavily, especially on the Tennessee River or down south. But it's a unique way, I think, to throw it where people don't think to throw it. Just a completely different swimming action, but it is a hollow belly with an EWG. And I'm more thinking of skipping it shallow around timber, around docks, through some grass, where typically people throw like a mag draft or a different line through swim bait, just something that is EWG, just a different look, where usually these fish are seeing a hollow belly swim bait out deep, where, up shallow, they might get a whole new look to. And it's kind of like your poor, not saying that like a mag draft super expensive, but it's like your poor man's mag draft, basically. So it's just this one I'll throw typically on like a 7.6 medium heavy with like 20-pound fluoro or 17, something where you can really jack their face and wrench them in, because that is a owner EWG beast. Usually I like to have I think they have one that has like an 1/8 ounce weight on it, but you can throw it weightless and it'll swim fine. But yeah, I like to jack their face with that thing. It's not something I'll throw a lot, but it's something a little bit interesting to play around with, something unique, as we mentioned, for summertime. But Andy, what's your fourth bait?
You stole the floor. I'm not going to go hollow belly. I'm going to go solid bodied.
Solid body, okay.
Soft paddle tail. Something different. A lot of people like to throw flukes around docks and stuff. With like a 4.8 kayak or a skinny dipper, one thing you can do is take your little nail weight and put it in the belly here to kind of keel it and keep it down in the water a little bit more. The skinny dipper is good, like a 4.8 kayak, and I think they even make a 5.8. Your poor man's mag draft. But instead of a screw head, I usually go like a 5/0 EWG or 6/0 EWG and just line it through.
Did you say line through with an EWG?
Not line through, but like thread.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Sorry.
I was like, wait a minute.
It's been a long month of June, okay? It's been a long month of June.
Andy needs some sleep.
Everyone's recovering from the fourth, man. I feel that. I need some sleep.
My fourth was spent looking at a computer screen and working, so there's not much recovery here.
Then you came over and drank a couple beers.
I did. Joined you, Mr. Redwine. Which, by the way, did you and Redwine catch them good? I know you said you lost a bunch, but did you guys catch them good today?
Oh, we still caught them good. Absolutely. It was fun.
Was he laughing like a little kid?
Kinda.
Yeah, Redwine's just like kind of like, this is fun.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is his mindset. Or that's his
And then I think he asked me like 5 times where good food is to eat in Hamburg, and I told him 5 times, and he got back to the hotel and texted me. He goes, "So what were those restaurants again you told me about?"
That sounds like red wine.
I started laughing. No, we the first fish we got was on top water, and we both were like, "Oh, it's on!" And there was some insane topwater bites and some like crazy jerkbait bites that they ripped the rod out of your hand, and they'd only be like 15 inches, but they were like hit swiping it, so you'd hit them and they would come up and jump, and your jerkbait would come flying past your head because they'd only get like one hook in the side of the face. It just wasn't good, but it was fun.
Yeah, it's fun. All right, Deacon, what's your fourth one?
Man, I've got so much confidence in topwater. I'm rolling still with topwater in the summer, and it just makes sense because
it's almost like you fish clear water fisheries. I don't know shit. There's a pattern here.
There's a pattern here. But man, I would say a Whopper Plopper, and I kind of mentioned it with the big spook comment, but I changed things up technique wise with the plopper. I throw a big one probably 90% of the time. And when I say big one, the 130 size or like the Berkeley Chopo, bigger size, not like the great big one. I haven't messed too much with that, although I have one. And I have heard of some crazy things like at the Delta with that. And I've heard of guys catching big ones. But as a tournament technique, that 130 size seems to get bit, a lot of good bites. You can cover so much water so fast with it, faster than you can with a spook. And that thing, I am throwing it on a 7.6 all the way up to a 7.11 rod. I'm throwing a big long rod to exactly cover water. And I mean, just go with it. That's what I like to do. And then if I'm around docks or on a different lake, then it's probably more like a 7.6 to 7.3 heavy, medium heavy. Kind of sit in that range with things because it's a big bait and you can target cast it pretty well though. But that's something that just, man, it gets bit. Largemouth, smallmouth. It's not. There's no secret to it. It gets good now, and it'll roll all the way into the fall.
Isn't there like a bigger one than the 130?
Yeah.
Isn't it like a 160 or 190 or something?
170, like I think.
170.
It was a musky bait, and it is huge, man. I've got one of them, and guys have caught fish on it, man. Like the Delta, I've heard of like them eating it. And
doesn't the packaging have that big one? Like it's like red, and it's like with a smallmouth too, with the giant one.
I don't know. My giant one's a bone colored. That's another thing. I like very few colors in the top water, and to me, it's either bone, black, bone, or clear, or bone.
Bone, black, and bone.
I'm right there with you. Like it's bone, black, or like something slightly translucent with a chartreuse belly with a pearl white top. Like.
That spook, the original spook color that's got the chartreuse belly or the chartreuse top kind of thing. I'm trying to think of like it's super famous on Champlain. Like it's catch the crap out of it.
Yeah, chartreuse belly and the top. Is that what you're talking about? Oh wait, no, you're talking about the one that's like the chartreuse belly and it's like the bluish top with like a gill pattern along.
But it's pretty clear. But it's pretty translucent too. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I have a few of those. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of the pattern. I'll pull it up here in a second.
It's absolutely hideous looking.
Yeah. But it gets
like
in clear water, dude. Like all the desert lakes and stuff, like they eat that thing.
Let me see if I can pull it up here before I get into my next bait. Do you guys throw the boyo?
What's that?
The head and boyo, super spook boyo, or whatever it's called.
No, I have not yet. Yeah, it's a new one. It's like a short little dude.
Literally this big. Dude, I got one. Like last fall for fall fishing when bait fish get really small, and I have not thrown it, but I got it and I was like, this thing is tiny.
Yeah.
Like it is tiny. And I could see it working in certain applications, but I'm like, man, wouldn't a Super Spook Junior work? But maybe it is that much, it's probably an inch or two less size.
Yeah. I'm going to throw my honorable mention out there now that we're talking about little topwaters. But just talking about like the Super Spook Boyo, like a 85 size Sammy on like a 6'10" medium light. Sometimes when they get on that little tiny bait fish, but they're chasing it, and that thing is so erratic. I've caught some giants on that little tiny Sammy.
That's awesome.
Let's see. I'm going to share my screen here. Is this the one we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. That's the one.
Yeah, like looks
it's like
crap.
A gizzard shad, blue, pink, green.
Yeah, and it's not even like
baits that don't have
it's
detail. Like I love it. Like it's just like that thing looks like it's straight out of the 80s, 70s, whatever, and it
still catches.
Yeah. You know what the thing that pisses me off is when people say the backs of topwaters matter when they probably do matter, but like it pisses me off that they actually do matter. And how do the fish even see it? Like
dude, that thing's going like this. Like every time it's moving, it's showing just a little flash of it.
Fishing's stupid. All right. My next bait is going to be one, and I was actually thinking about it when we were talking about the topic for tonight's show. And it figures I'm going through and I'm watching some YouTube videos, and our buddy Ty Berger from Bass Fishing HQ actually came up with this. He had the video on it actually recently. So this is not me copying. This is actually just very similar thinking. But for especially people that are around schooling bass, or they're trying to snipe them on forward when they're chasing smaller bait fish, not necessarily that bigger bait fish profile, but it is a smaller jigging spoon. One that people like to throw in more the cold water, the winter months. But like when you're around, like especially in the north, we have some like class of fish that chase like very small bait fish, like that 2 to 4 inch bait fish. That perfectly can mimic them and drive them absolutely nuts and make for a pretty damn fun bite. There's a lot of different places you can use it.
I want to see you do that. Have you messed with that at all this year yet?
Not in the summer, not like the warmer.
In the summer. I'd love to see that. Like, I'd love to hear back that feedback, because that's something that I've always thought about is spooning in the summer. I really don't do it until the fall, or like you said, early winter when they're really out there. But I mean, they're out there in the summer too. I just normally reach for a soft plastic instead of a spoon.
I have a couple places where they brown and green spots where they school up pretty dang heavy. Like I have places where the green ones will school up out in 30 foot, but they're only, 15 foot down, but they're chasing like 3-inch alewives, what they usually spit up, 3 to 4 inch alewives, where that could be pretty fun. Now
live scope will help a ton.
Yeah. Seeing those suckers will be a lot easier. Setup, I'm trying to play and tinker with a little bit more. If I'm going to cast this out, like it might call for a longer rod, and the setup might be better. Whereas your hookup ratio would be better with a longer rod. But where I'm used to using this thing is like in the wintertime when you're on above them and you're seeing them on 2D or something like that, and you're jigging vertically, whereas this could be kind of different where you might be making 20 to 30 foot pitches. Say you see them on forward facing, like I might try to go to say like a 7.6 medium heavy, something that's a super long parabolic, where it could help with that hookup ratio, especially in the summer when those fish are going to be going much crazier than they would be.
Yeah, in the winter, colder temps.
Yeah, they're like super, like just dragging up. Whereas the summer they're like on crack. So it's So playing around with that, and I'll probably swap the hook out too, maybe a little bit bigger hook, play around with that. But jigging spoon, something a little unique. So last round, boys. Our 5th one, Andy.
So one of my favorite things to do is fish a Senko in grass, just like flipping it around. And recently watching YouTube videos, I'm like, I want to find an alternative just for like if they're feeding or chasing a little bit. And I think I found the perfect complement, and I've already used it a couple times this year and caught a lot of fish on it. This year I'm going to be throwing a cutter worm.
Interesting.
Here. I actually had a guide trip last weekend on a Finger Lake and absolutely smoked them swimming a cutter worm. I was like,
weightless or
no, like a 1/4 ounce weight.
Okay.
Yeah, so like you'll cast it out like 70,
bait.
pretty much 70, 80 feet, but it's more of like a modified. You're gonna hop, and as it's falling down on slack, you just kind of reel down. When you feel the bottom, you just slowly raise it and
then you get nabbed.
And all of a sudden you come down and you feel thump, and you just reel and hit them as hard as you can. It's fun. 15-pound fluoro, and you're just kind of hopping it across the top of the weed to 1/8 ounce. I found 1/8 ounce was the best weight to use on 15-pound fluoro.
I like it.
Interesting.
On the clutch, nonetheless.
Of course.
Of course.
What other rod do you need in life?
A few. But yeah, that rod is so good. It's funny. Like, if I could have 7 rods, only 7 rods in baitcaster, I think I can get away with just using a clutch for like everything.
Could bring it pretty close.
Yeah.
Deacon, what about you?
Man, I'm getting a little distracted here because I finally have looked at the Bassmaster page for all the iCast releases, and I'm like,
we're gonna dive into it a little bit.
All right.
If you give us 3 minutes, we'll go through it together here.
I know. Okay. Mine is similar to Andy's around grass. Generally, for me, this technique is a reaction deal, and it's throwing a fluke, man. Like pretty standard thing, but a fluke, a castaic, whatever the castaic version of the fluke is, a little bit heavier. Makes for an awesome casting bait. But man, you can just get reactions, I think, out of fish that you previously, or sometimes a Senko isn't working, which is wild to think. But sometimes like those fish need something to chase. They need a reaction to make them out chase it. So fluke's my fifth one.
Fluke. What's your setup for a fluke?
Man, I'm throwing it on a casting rod. I'm generally going pretty light line, like 12 pound on a casting rod, a medium 7 foot, 7.3 medium rod, and a 7 1-to-1 reel, 7.31 something in there, pretty quick.
Some people will put like a barrel swivel on the line to stop like rotation of it. Do you do the barrel swivel or do you go straight to the hook?
I go straight to the hook unless I'm double fluking, like a double fluke rig, donkey rig, if it's allowed in a tournament. Still comes through grass pretty easily. If it's really thick grass, that barrel swivel will get a little gummed up. But otherwise, yeah, I'm going straight to it, and I don't have any issues with line twist. It seems if it's windy and I really can't make a long cast with a casting rod, and I've had awesome days on a spinning rod with a fluke too, and just that fluke, it's kind of a regular fluke that's Castaics or the depths. Like there's some baits that are a heavier fluke. Even the Strike King one, like there's get a little more weight to it than a traditional fluke. But I like the traditional fluke as well.
Doesn't the caffeine Shad have like that like bulbous tail or?
It does,
dude. It like almost does this on the fall. Like it shimmies
nice.
like a Senko. Like
I like that.
I was impressed with it.
I feel like that would make for like a nice scrounger bait.
But, yeah, having that tail flailing around.
Yeah. So my last one, seeing as though Deacon and I had the same first bait swing head, I was trying to sit in here and brainstorm a bait that's kind of like unique, and it was kind of tough, to be honest. That wasn't like just something unique for the summer that I've tried, and I couldn't really think of one. But I have a bait that I wanted to try this summer that I have not tried yet. And I honestly can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I'm sure someone in the chat or you two guys might even know what I'm talking about. But it's, again, from a preface, is one that I have not tried yet, but I'm going to talk about what I want to try, and I might give some people ideas, make for some good conversation. But it's basically you take a drop shot weight, and like you can play around with the hook, but right here I have it's a 3/0 owner cover shot hook. You take a split ring and you connect the two so that they're like this, if that makes any sense. So kind of like a free rig, but I guess not free. Kind of like a Tokyo rig, I guess. Yeah, but with a smaller.
Is it like a Jika rig? Like a Jika rig or whatever?
Maybe that's what it's called. Maybe it's a Jika. I thought the Jika was like that cylinder.
Be back to the good old days.
Yeah, right. Make it simple. Make fishing simple again.
Those ones still work fine.
Jika, richest common thing, Jika rig.
There you go.
And I was thinking like that with like a 4 1/4 inch flatworm on like a 7.6 spinning rod, like going through grass, or like maybe not 7, maybe like a 7.1 or a 7 foot medium heavy with like 15-pound braid to 10-pound fluoro, and just I lose my hook now, so I can't bring the hook back out. Dropped it. But that's something to be kind of simple, like dragging through rock. Dragging on Great Lakes, could be dragging through grass. Maybe not something you'd flip necessarily. I mean, I guess you could, but you might as well just flip a free rig or something like that. But something that was just kind of bringing something different that we haven't talked about yet, seeing as though we had the same one. You wanted to give folks an honest 15 new unique baits for the summer. But is that something you guys have tried yet?
Actually, yes. Owner makes EWG with a tungsten cylinder, like drop shot weight to it. It's real light, like 3/16 ounce. But I've caught a lot of fish actually fishing a 5-inch Senko on it, just a different presentation with it when I'm flipping grass. I'll usually have that tied up just lightly and on like lighter line, like a 12-pound or a 14-pound fluoro, and just you get some bites doing it that way. It's just a different presentation the way it falls.
Yeah, it's just something I want to play around with. Could be kind of interesting, especially on that cover shot with lighter setup. Could make for an easy bite getter.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, any takeaways before we hop into the 2022 iCast new products preview that Bassmaster just posted, or should we just dive right in?
Let's roll in, man.
All right, let's do it. All right. Let's see if we can blow this screen up here.
There
we go. That's much better. All right. New products for 2022. I have no idea how we're going to structure this other than we're going to scroll down and see.
So facial expressions. We're like, what the?
Yeah.
What in the world?
Is there a new lunker hunt bait, like a spider or like a tarantula or something?
I have no idea, but we're about to find out because I quickly breezed through this and sent like Andy a couple things. I think I sent a tungsten weight that we'll get to in a second to you guys. Yeah, we'll just breeze through this here. So
for those of you listening on iTunes or Spotify or whatever, bear with us. We're just going through the literal Bassmaster release of all these baits. You can go to the Bassmaster website.
Yeah, if you want to check it out, I'll put a link down in the descriptions after the show, but it's literally you just type in Bassmaster 22 iCast and it'll pull this up. So hard baits. First one is the new Berkeley Slobber Knocker, which you guys have known about for a little bit, being in tight quarters here with Serious Angler Crew. But what are your guys' honest takeaways about the Slobber Knocker and the new bladed jig?
The head design is interesting. How it goes through the head. I wonder how it comes through the water. It looks like it has a beefy hook.
Mm-hmm.
Deacon, it looks like it with the head design. I'd like to see it from the other angle, but it kind of looks to me like the queen tackle as far as with a bar between the head, kind of.
Yeah, I just wonder how the vibration would be.
Yeah, I think the only difference between this one and the Switchblade is that this is through the actual jig head versus Queen is through the eye. Yeah, whereas the eye is the jig head.
Is it literally?
I've used it a little bit. And it's consistent. It's a different vibration, but I haven't noticed anything super crazy with it just yet.
Gotcha.
What's that?
I said gotcha.
Yeah. Let's keep going through here. We got a Ketchko Mike. How do you pronounce his name?
Buka.
Buka?
I believe it's Buka.
Bull mullet. I'm going to assume this is if it's a mullet, it's probably going to be a saltwater bait.
Well, it's only 5.5 inches, man.
No, there's
those look like saltwater hooks.
It's more California style, like
it looks like a big wake bait. I mean,
saltwater 3 times saltwater grade hooks, heavy duty rotating hook angle. Interesting. $20 though.
I know, $20.
I'm sure you could catch bass on that.
Oh,
I mean, that looks like a gizzard shad.
Dude, I love big wake baits.
This is interesting. Freedom Tackle Speed Free. Look at Andy. That's kind of different blade. You're the spinnerbait freak out of the three of us.
Yeah, that's like a hybrid Indiana blade almost. So it's going to have a lot of thump. It's interesting, though, that it's got that hybrid elongated Indiana blade with a willow. So that thing will pulsate, but I bet because it has that keel on the head, I bet that thing will run deeper and get a different type of vibration than spinnerbait fish will be used to down deep.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what the elongated jig head is for. Like, is that for like bigger trailers or something?
Probably a wider trailer, and it's also probably the way they could get it to balance with that heavier thumping blade on top.
I got you.
So it doesn't like blow to the side. So they angled the wake down to kind of keep it down and also stop it from rolling.
Interesting. That'll be intriguing. We'll have to pick us up some of those. Freedom Tackle Ultra Diver Shad. Doesn't look like there's anything exciting there.
It looks like the old man's deep diver.
It looks like it's got interesting shape to it.
It's like a coffin style.
Like a clover.
Yeah, exactly. It's good.
Oh yeah, clover leaf lip. Yeah, look at that.
Hey.
Yeah. That would make sense. We should probably read these, but yeah.
Nah.
And we got bait of the year, folks. Bait of the year.
Yeah, it's just another spinnerbait.
Just another spinnerbait. Let's see. Nichols Catalyst spinnerbait. I don't see anything too crazy on that.
It's plated in 24 karat gold.
Yeah.
Or nickel.
Oh, it's got an owner hook at least. I didn't know Nichols had that. Now we're talking. Greatest swim bait made of all time. Tail does not look cheap as heck. Greenfish tackle, bad little. It kind of looks like the
nice drop head,
guppy head. Yeah.
Was it Dirty Jigs that has that? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The guppy.
Well, yeah.
There's two different ones.
And then Matt Allen, Technical Bassin, has one, right?
Yeah, it's the Dirty Jigs.
Okay.
New Gantrail colors.
Here's what. Yeah, are these just colors? Because
it looks like a lot of these are just like same baits, new colors. Which what the heck is that?
It's like a koi.
Fired up and RT crappy. Interesting. Jackal re-range. I'm gonna assume this is new colors.
Yeah, and I was like, that's been out. Wow.
Yeah.
Two new colors: burgundy shad and chartreuse black pearl. Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Andy is now intrigued. Andy's like, "Here's my money."
Saltwater bait. You can skip over the Koa Shrimp.
That is a live crawl. That's obviously going to win ICAST Best of Show because it's stupid and doesn't catch fish.
This is interesting.
That's what I want really bad.
Have you tried any other jerk baits yet that have that little?
No, but I've heard from like Gussie and Douglas that they're pretty legit.
Yeah, that popper looks good, but especially if it like when you pop, some poppers will stop and roll real quick. Like if that rolls and it has that flash shimmy to it as it's rolling, ooh, on a super calm day, like slightly overcast.
The burgundy shad for the re-rangers talking about, Rich said, is on Omnia Fishing.
Yeah, it's weird that that's a new color because I have burgundy shad too.
Spro CJ Outsider crankbaits. The Johnston brothers made a crankbait.
I know.
It looks really close to that OSP that you were showing me the other night, Andy.
Yeah, that is definitely. We're not going to say it out loud, but that is definitely the Jinren color of the OSP.
It sure looks like it.
That's funny.
Then again, everyone's knocking each other off for colors, so we can't really say that. But
actually looks good.
That's an interesting hook, like the little hook there below, right by the line tie. I don't know if
that reminds me of the old Jackal brake blade, which was the most vibrating spinnerbait I've ever thrown in my life.
It does look like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially the head design, that small little and the indent back here.
So here's what made the Jackal brake blade. So not the brake blade. What was it called? Super eruption. When it fell on a slack line, the blade still rotated normally. So when you could reel and pause, and as it fell on slack, the blades would spin normally, and you would get a lot of bites on a super eruption when you pause because it would just keep spinning. I wonder if that would do something similar.
Yeah, maybe. Especially with the 360 swivel.
Yeah, the spinnerbait is a must. Let's read it here. Spinnerbait is a must. Clear. I don't know. We'll see. No.
Kind of like that head design. Kind of like an accent design to it. Intriguing. Looks like we got an OG Slim right here.
Yeah. Or they're actually mimicking the Lure Jensen Speed Trap. That's more of a speed trap style. And now that they have a demon, right at the bottom it says the versatility makes this speed demon. So they're probably mimicking the old speed trap, which was an awesome crankbait back in the day.
I love Spro's crankbaits, man. I'd love it. That thing looks awesome.
Let's see, we have a 50 DD.
So it's a littler, right? Because the other one's a 55. Right.
Half ounce, 50 millimeters long.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what colors, if they have the same color lineup. Mixed stick +1.
Standard.
Pencil popper from Missouri. Kind of like that. It kind of looks like that Shimano technology they got going. I don't know if that has that same flash disc though. You guys throw your Missouri crankbaits at all?
Never have, man.
See, I got a bunch of different stuff coming, or
There's
at least
a wacky coming up.
Yeah, this is the one. This is the one I really wanted to talk about.
What the?
What is that? Oh my god!
That was an old Strike King chatterbait head.
Yeah,
those things were horrible, or I've never caught fish on them with that.
Z-Man Hellraiser. I am so intrigued. I want one really bad.
Splashes, sputters, and car. It almost if it's doing all that kind of stuff, it's almost like a mega bass, like the bug thing. That had like
the first thing it reminded me of. It reminded me of what is
gimmick?
that? Yeah, that too.
Hellraiser.
What is the bait that has that lip that has like the body of a spy bait that like skitters across the top?
Oh, the jackal. The jackal
Yeah.
you're talking about. Yeah.
The riser, whatever it is.
It's the riser.
Yeah. Is this something like that? Is this like a top water?
Yeah, but there's a
Here we go. Simple straight retrieve effortlessly. Good grief, I can't talk. Effortlessly planes the lure to the top. Crazy fleeing action at slow or fast speed. So pretty much, I think that's it going after it, but with a slight vibration.
Okay, to me, why would you choose this color to display? Like
that's what I'm saying.
For iTunes, it's literally yellow, like a yellow tail, yellow belly, and pink on top. It's just very interesting.
Hellraiser.
I'll probably catch the crap out of them, but like,
probably.
Like I would go with.
I'm intrigued though. Like I want to throw it. Like I want to see.
It'll be discontinued in 6 months, and then in 2 years, you're going to hear about how many fish it caught.
Yeah.
Weight's 5/8 ounce. That's pretty big, pretty heavy.
So you're probably gonna throw that on casting gear.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's Z-Man. You can't count on for hooks. It's Z-Man. You can count on swapping them as soon as you buy them.
The thing's wild, and then the line tie is like that's wild.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Midwest.
That's pretty nuts.
And it's $15. Enjoy.
Yeah, enjoy is right. So I guess swim jig, Z-Man Midwest finesse swim jig. Interesting.
Swim jig.
Okay, here we go. 13 fishing power slide. It's got that like shower blows type mouth to it. Looks like, but interesting indentation on the back.
It's almost backwards. Like
it look pretty.
How many times do you see a top water that's a popping style bait where the bottom lip extends out forward?
That's what the shower blows is, and the shower blows walks and spits really good.
Oh, I've never thrown a shower blows. I can never get the colors I want because they're always out of stock.
Come on, bait maniac! You're supposed to know this stuff.
Eh.
You're the tinker over here.
I know, and it's something I've never thrown. Sorry.
Chop. All right, that was our hard baits. We're doing the soft baits here. New Berkeley Power Stinger. Now,
can I throw this out there real fast?
Please.
Each segment so far has started with a Berkeley bait.
You know what they say. Best is at the top. No, I was kidding.
Pays the most money.
No, I don't think
probably
most. Yeah, who's paying us the most? I don't know. I don't know if this will completely replace the Senko, but what I do like is that it comes in a smaller size at 3.5 inch.
Hold up, Berkeley's at the top because guys, it's in alphabetical order.
Are we that stupid?
Probably. Yeah. But technically then doesn't numbers come first?
I know, I was thinking that too. The numbers are in the back. It's alphabetical except for the numbers.
It's Bassmaster, guys. We gotta cut them some slack here. Just kidding. But I do like the smaller trailer for chatterbait because I feel like that is becoming more and more popular. The more like
this has got to be a big bite bait.
Yep, right there. The quarantine craw.
That thing is weird.
Oh my gosh, I love the name.
Quarantine craw. Well, what's the one that was really good this year? That, what's the bait that Drew Cook won on?
Oh,
it's the same tail, isn't it?
The fighting frog and tilapia magic. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the same bait, right? Just without appendages off the side.
They're calling it a Ned style body bait.
Ned style, and it's 4 1/4 inches.
Big Ned.
Oh, you know what? There's a mold coming out possibly, right? That might be announced in this, I'm assuming.
I don't know if it's in this or not.
Okay. We'll talk.
But it's being announced at ICAST. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Is that a flatworm? I mean, big bite baits.
Like everything in this dang.
Yeah.
So moly. Like, what a great
So,
name.
I get it.
Somali.
I was just been sitting here.
Somali.
Somali. What the heck is Somali mean?
Somali.
It's really-
Oh, that's funny.
So for Smalley, yeah.
Well, Andy's definitely going to buy these and try them.
Nope.
What?
I want to try 'em.
I won't.
Why would you not try it?
I just for
It's got the new
$7.
sensation, bro. It's like
For
scientifically engineered.
$7, I'll pay 99 cents more and buy a flatworm.
Dude, my biggest problem with all this stuff is like I get so I'm trying to simplify my tackle, and there's just more crap.
Shake Squad's comment here. Wow, that looks different. I love it.
Best of show, Kazoo Diecast.
That's right. Kamikaze swim on split tail. Probably like what, a spinnerbait trailer, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, spinnerbait, blade jigs. Pad Crasher Junior. Don't know what's new about that. Is there not a junior or something?
No,
Dude, I think there's been kind of a kick here lately of having small frogs.
I don't know if I like it.
I have mixed feelings about it, but
Let's hear your mixed feelings.
Okay, there was a show. I think it was a. I'm trying to think of exactly where it was on, but I was listening to a podcast where this guy's coming. There was absolutely smoking him behind him on a little frog, and he wasn't catching on a big one on a very pressured fishery, and that's what made me think through that. But I really like casting far, and I feel like anytime with frog fishing, I'm trying to make as far the cast as I can get away with, and if you downsize, you're going to downsize your weight too. So.
You probably do like a 7. I mean, I don't know how much these weigh. Like, what could you even throw that? Like a 7.1.
Gotta have
heavy, 7.1 heavy, 7.1 medium heavy.
Yeah,
50-pound braid.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see.
I like Jigspaw's comments.
Yeah. Those legs will touch the bottom in 3 foot of water.
They probably will.
This dragon.
It's like
That's amazing.
2.5 times the size of the body.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming. The Biospawn lures Vile Minnow. That looks like the 6 Sense fluke.
Mm-hmm.
Not that all flukes don't look alike these days. Andy, you going to buy some of these? The new Biospawn lures Exoned.
I've never tried Biospawn stuff, but that actually might work.
I like to go down to the next one, Bailey. This thing has got me all kinds of like, oh, this is neat. It's like a little tube that's got like fins that probably.
It's got to be Biospawn.
What's the sport with? I'm drawing a blank here. It's like a mini version of tennis. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, badminton.
Badminton. Yeah. What is the thing called? Like a shuttlecock or something?
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
They should have named it. Oh my, the Vile tube. Oh, the shuttlecock.
What are you throwing? A shuttlecock?
A shuttle tube.
I mean, like that on a drop shot, I feel like would be. I don't know how big it is, but that could be like a little.
It's probably 4.5 inches.
Probably.
That's probably too big.
It's pretty interesting, though. Very interesting. Wow, that's never been around before.
A flip jiffle bug. Does it have a bigger head? Is that it?
Oh, the head is more streamlined and pointed. The original biffle head is more V'd. That's rounded.
Hashtag crazy innovations here, folks.
Let's go.
Jackal Rhythm Wag. Like that looks like
a fluke that maybe is a little heavier.
It's a backsliding technique bait.
What?
A 3-pack for $6.
Yeah, it's meant to backslide.
What does that even mean?
So when the way that it's weighted without
Jackal,
putting anything, you like rig it through the top. With like a
what we were just talking about.
Yep, it'll slide.
The Jackal does that with Jackal's done that with their craws.
Yep,
already weighted that way.
There you go. Live target, ultimate frog. ICAST winner.
It's going to be ICAST winner for sure. Those legs, are you kidding me?
So realistic.
Hashtag game changer.
Let's just talk about live target for a moment. You ever notice they release a bait every year and then that bait is on clearance like 6 months later?
6 months. Try 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Dude, dead on. But you know what?
I didn't even think they were still around. I didn't think Live Target was a brand. Let's see what we got. Missile Baits Magic Worm. Collaborated with Robo Worm. I forgot they did this. I saw this on social.
Those will be good then.
Yeah, with the Robo Worm colorways.
Yeah.
I'll buy some for sure.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Dude,
$11 for 14 worms.
Oh boy. I'll still buy them. Interesting little bait. Missile Baits Chunky D.
Well, that looks like that would be a really good jig trailer.
That'd be a really good skipping jig trailer, dude. Look how flat that thing is.
Oh yeah.
Snag proof smash mouth popper. Interesting.
Oh.
Interesting. Spiro Pintail stick slim. That could make for like an interesting Nico bait.
How big is it?
Or a chicken rig.
5 inch. It's more like a
5 inch.
That tail's really interesting. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
I feel like it's just dying to have a sunfish bite it off every time you throw it.
Yeah. This is going to be probably the bait I'm most intrigued about.
Me too.
The 3-inch drop shot bait, the CJ Smasher from the Johnston brothers.
Spro is hooking up with
5 for $7.
I like how it's both Chris and Corey with the CJ.
Right.
I like it. Good for them. That's a good deal, Spro. I think
it's an interesting colorway. I'm more intrigued to see what other colors they're gonna have.
That color's sick.
I'm more intrigued to see what colors the Johnston brothers are actually going to be throwing at St. Lawrence River. Like
or flatworm.
Or they've got their own little thing.
Scottsboro swim bait. We've seen a bunch of this lately. The goat toads. 13 fishing the trout. So like a $35 Huddleston. Is this what we're trying to get at here?
Exactly. It's got a wedge tail. Interesting.
Apparently you can buy the CJ Smasher at Omnia 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, they announced they were out like a month ago or so. I just always forget about them.
Excuse me while I order some baits.
Omnia app.
I'm pulling up the Omnia app as we speak.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got 10,000 fish shimmer swimmer. So that like a bladed jig. Interesting. Fish shimmer shad. Say that 10 times fast.
Shad.
Rods, reels, and line. Here we go.
Oh, we're going rods and reels and line too.
Oh, look, Abu.
Alphabetical, baby. The new Revo X. The whole Revo has been redesigned, actually. New Cashin Icon BFS rod. That's becoming a bigger and bigger thing now, that bait finesse. Very interesting. Let's see. We got a cast and seek spinning combo from Shop Carl's. The new Fenwick Elites. I've actually used them. They are badass. I will say that. The best rod ever made right here. Guggen Squad Black Series.
$300. Wow.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'll be intrigued to see who's actually going to be throwing these.
All right.
Maybe it's a nice rod. I don't know what you guys are saying.
You know who the only people are actually going to throw these are, though? The people that are actually going to buy them. It's going to be those dudes on Instagram that have like 20,000 followers, and all they do is post Guggen Squad like baits and products and like amazing photos, but never have any fish. Those are the only places you're going to see this rod. Halo HFX spinning.
Mustad.
This is one I'm actually intrigued about.
That's crazy. Like
Mustad,
like
Brandon Lester Instinct Elite Rod Series.
Hook companies making rods.
Mustad. Now, if you look here too, starting at $350.
Ooh.
My one takeaway
like
from this.
Metal.
Well, I'm intrigued, but my one complaint is these exposed reel threads and these like super
White
uncomfortable looking reel
metal.
seats.
Yeah.
For
It's metal, man. It's gonna add some
$350.
weight. It looks really nice. Not the exposed threads, but the real seats. I like the metal. It looks nice, but at the same time, it's like that's going to add some weight and be
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
High quality photos here.
Those
Top
are mine.
notch.
Steve Mooey must have did those.
Oh, shout out to Steve Mooey finally getting engaged yesterday.
Yeah, still waiting for his little one to come. Like
That's
I
right.
think the little one was due 2 days ago.
Oh,
Still
wow.
waiting. Yeah,
The new ex-bride.
Those will go fast.
Yes.
What is that,
Croix Legend Tournament Bass Series. So I'm guessing. Let's see.
Listen, I have a couple of these of the new ones, and I like them a lot. I don't know what is going on.
All swim bait models. So big swim baits. It's just like that pistol grip is like a it's like a musky deal, and I think they're trying to take it over to big swim baits, where it's kind of like hard to do that, hold it, and like rip big glide baits. Where now you can hold it like pistol grip and like, you know what I mean?
Interesting. Okay.
It'll be interesting to see if that catches on for bigger swim baits for bass, but I know it's like a musky deal.
I know that.
It's supposed to like help your longevity like throughout the day throwing bigger stuff.
Gotcha.
St. Croix X-Trek freshwater fishing systems. Why are we calling these things systems? The rods.
Pronounced cross.
Oh, I bet you it's like a combo, and they wanted to be all fancy with it and call it a system.
It's the system.
G-Man.
13 fishing meta. Yeah, G-Man. Look at that. G-Man's got his own rods. Hopefully these 13 ones won't blow up on him in 47 pieces.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, I'm actually kind of excited for that. I'm intrigued to see how they do. The new Revo Rocket.
I can't get over the red.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of red.
Like, I'm sure it's a great reel. I'm sure it's very pricey. Oh, no, $200. Okay. But like, yeah, the color on it, it looks like a little kid reel, man.
The Daiwa Exist.
Pricey.
Almost $1,000.
Good budget buy there.
Is that it?
That is your Guggen Squad casting reel for $190. Catch Smart Technology.
It's a little bit of an eyesore there.
Sounds like a knockoff to the DC.
Sounds like something.
Shimano.
Speaking of Shimano,
Bantam.
The new Bantam.
That thing looks sweet.
Stella.
That's got to be over $1,000 now. No.
$750.
The Exist is more? Wow.
Look at that.
Wow, that's fancy.
New 13 fishing G-Man reel.
That looks like the old Quantum Smoke.
It does. It actually really does.
Grips and everything. Excellent.
So new. It's a different color. Wow.
Same with
wow.
Same color.
Yeah. Same thing.
In a 300-yard spool. Woohoo.
Wow.
Yeah. Line innovation.
50-yard spool instead of a 25. Weird.
Not a fan of Gold Label.
We're getting crazy here now.
This is fantastic. I love Japanese marketing so much.
Very hard.
Very hard.
Very nice. Very hard.
Like, that is fantastic.
The jokes you can make with this.
Plasma rise.
How'd you catch a bad?
Tornado. Oh, what is this? Tornado? Tornado? What the heck? American tornado. Oh, it is tornado. Okay. It's the tornado.
Very hard.
In this case, the plasma rise.
Moving on. Yozeri Super Braid.
P-line.
See, we got looks like another guppy head.
I think sweet.
Yeah,
It looks just like the Dirty Jigs.
Looks like, yeah, it does. Which I like that Dirty Jigs head a lot.
Freedom Tackle Magnum Shaky head. I like how the barb of this hook is a rectangle. It looks like a straight screwdriver.
The shadow off of it is horrible.
Is that what that is? I thought it was actually like
that is a terrible photo.
That on.
Who took that photo? Like who submitted that photo?
This is horrible.
I need to take a picture of this and send it to Steve and ask him if he did it.
I thought straight up that was like a flathead screwdriver for a hook.
I'm gonna ask Steve right now if he did this.
Oh my god. Gamakatsu G Finesse Feathered Treble. Like it. Gamakatsu Power Drop Tokyo Rig. This is what I'm intrigued about.
I like that. And in
Gamakatsu Tungsten Hybrid Swing Head.
Strike King had these out for a while in tungsten, and I feel like they never sold. So it'll be interesting to see if they can make it happen.
I think the fact that it's Gammy, it'll actually sell.
Has Gammy ever made any tungstens, really? Like, I feel like this is kind of a new little thing. They haven't been in weights, right? Like,
I don't think so. This one I'm actually intrigued about. I like the shape of that.
Looks like a muzzleloader bullet.
G-Shield tungsten flipping weight. 360-degree protection for the knot. Interesting. See how it's like that smaller cylinder inside the head?
Yeah,
intriguing.
I actually like that.
I like that a lot. Let's see. Spring lock, woohoo.
Yeah, but look at it. It's got two sides.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So I think it would make you rig something a little bit straighter. You know what I mean? Rather than having to like center it, it would kind of just like.
Interesting. I see what you're saying. I didn't even catch that.
Double lock. It might hold it longer too. I like those. I'm curious to see. I know like it's saying it's the only treble hook manufactured completely by an automated process, but like to me, I like how stout they are, but still have a narrow point on the tip. But I don't know.
Be interesting.
I'm always on a hunt for a good treble.
Bro, Tungsten Weights. Are bigger companies getting into tungsten now?
See, now that intrigues me right there. See where it says 1/8 the 2 ounce? Like you can get.
They're making this for what you're doing, Bailey, as far as your free rig.
Yeah. Allowing soft plastics to be fished in and around heavy cover. Like I want that 2 ouncer for some Bubba shotting, some like insane milfoil.
I wonder if this is an attempt like for bigger companies. Like you hear about these different conglomerates like a Pure Fishing or a Spro Gammy. I can't remember who else is in that. Big Bite, I think, is the other one or something like that. You hear about these different brands that like have an umbrella, right? I wonder if this is their way of encompassing themselves to like not or to have their anglers be all straight like that umbrella's brand. You know what I'm trying to say? Like if they have Tungsten Weights.
Yeah, I mean, I think to some extent, I think the other thing too, man, is like when it comes down to it with like things like tungsten, like there's only a handful of producers out there from my knowledge of it. And it's like, you just work your way in with one of those. And if you're a big enough brand that can sell stuff, it's like, why not have your own line of tungsten?
Yeah. This one's got me really intrigued.
You've never seen tungsten putty before?
No. I'm not a fan of it, dude.
No, it's weird. It doesn't set right on the line.
Gammy used to make it. Huh. I put it in tube jigs when I was like,
never heard of it.
It'll make it like real nice and I don't know. Maybe there's a better way, but like
I honestly thought it was a brownie as I was scrolling down the page.
Like a weed brownie in a little tin.
Super innovative, putting lights in a tackle box. This is one I was actually pretty pumped with.
I think so too, man. That just to let your skirts dry. I mean, like sometimes I think it's like, okay, this is getting a little crazy when it comes to storage of tackle. Like we don't need all this crap, but like that's kind of something that I could see being nice. Because how many frogs do you think you could fit in there? Looks like it says 50. There you go.
Yeah.
Who needs 50 frogs?
If you fish in Florida or the South.
Yeah,
I have way too many frogs, but I end up using like 4.
Like, killer gill, black white.
Yeah, there you go. You nailed it. Andy and I are on the same page when it comes to top water. It doesn't have to get complicated.
Has anyone in the chat used bait fuel? Comment if you have and your opinion on it. Let's see. don't die stackable lithium trolling motor battery.
Interesting, man. So it's like they stack. So where would you? I guess it's stuff to mount sideways in your boat. Huh.
Only for $7,200
Quality name, Lithium Battery Company.
and no price tag.
Weird. Interesting. Millennium Marine double monitor mount. I don't like that they called it a monitor.
Yeah, it looks like it's an office desk equipment. That's gonna win iCast.
What? The Waynet?
Yeah. It's innovative and dumb.
There's something being announced tomorrow from Humminbird that will win iCast.
Yeah.
I put $100 on it.
I mean,
That Waynet is kind of interesting. I mean, you put fish in it and it gives you a weight, but I can't imagine it being that accurate.
it's gonna be accurate. That's my problem with it.
Yeah. Anybody want
tested?
$200 pliers?
Oh my.
You know, Sims people, man. Sims people are just bougie like that.
Dude, I don't know, like Sitka, Sims, all out of Montana. Some of their stuff is really, really cool, and it's always really pricey. But I mean, I guess if it's got a warranty and you never have to pay for it again.
Touche. Another graph mount. Interesting.
Costa getting into the clothing game. Sorry, I'm a little ahead of you.
Are you looking at it too?
Oh yeah, I got a big screen up.
I mean, they're getting overrun with shades, so I guess they're getting into apparel.
I like it.
Doesn't look like they're making bad stuff.
Oh boy, is this the first ever kayak only apparel?
Where is that?
You can't wear those shorts unless you're a kayak angler. Okay, so Andy, you and I have to stay away from those. Those are Bailey shorts.
Sorry, suckers.
They look awfully short. Need to get a nice thigh tan.
These I'm excited about from Blackfish.
Ooh,
The new colorways for the Gale pullovers.
I want that gray and gray one with the red.
I want these. I want that neon in the nice forest green. It looks cool as hell. That pullover is actually freaking sick.
Yeah, I got 2 of them. They're awesome.
Let's see.
And warm.
Very, very warm. Cool Net UV. What is? Oh, it's a neckwear.
Yep, buff.
Did you really submit a buff to the new product showcase? Interesting.
Yeah, it's Hellabass's comment.
Let's just throw it up there. We're gonna go R.
There you go. Yes.
I'm gonna leave this damn show. Good gosh.
The kayak shorts and the Gilligan hat. Let's ring Bailey up here.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. You got a bucket hat.
And the bonefish buff.
Yeah. Give me these new monarchs and I'll look like a true millennial.
I think it would be great.
New hook pants, yada yada yada. Quality picture, super blurry.
Nice.
Sounds like Hook.
Nice.
The new sim stuff. Looks like Striker is getting into hunting. Is that what this is, or just a different pattern?
Kind of looks like the Sims pattern.
Yeah, it's just rain gear.
Yeah.
Striker. I think we're getting on the last. I think that's the last thing here.
Okay,
that's it.
Up. I actually like that. This is dumb looking, or it kind of looks like, I don't know, the
I like it.
Right, as far as, but dude, like, so there's Sitka makes a hunting jacket that's like this, like an archery specific deal that's very similar to this, and it's got like down and is super lightweight and crazy expensive and that kind of thing. But it's actually nice to have like your forearms and everything be able to move a lot, like shooting a bow, versus having like a long sleeve that's bulky. So it's like bulkier, so it's warmer, like a vest would be, which a vest would work the same way, but you have a little bit more coverage and stuff. So I was like, it's interesting relation of hunting to fishing, but it could be the same way. It's like your arms are all free and everything.
It's got that AFCO hoodie neck to it.
It does. Looks like the Jason Christie hoodie.
Mm. Yeah.
It's probably a collaboration.
This is true. Rich is like, remember a Yeti bucket, one eye cast. This is true.
Oh,
This is very true. Yeah. A point from Sean. Nothing looks super innovative.
Just that Z-Man Hellraiser or whatever.
I don't know if that's innovative or just like getting so stupid because when you get stupid, you win eye cast. I think that's basically about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually an interesting point here from Rich. He goes, short sleeve hoodies make zero sense to me. Like people who wear gloves with short sleeves.
Man, I'm gonna start.
I don't understand either. Like,
brilliant.
I bet. Okay, hold up. Actually, I don't know about you guys. Well, you guys don't wear gloves. I've been starting to wear gloves. I don't wear them probably enough as I should, because, dude, I'm starting to get like old man hands at an early age from being on the water, like wrinkled up.
I look like I'm wearing the gloves because my hands are like, can't really see at the light, but you
Yeah.
kind of see that tan line. Just looks like I'm wearing gloves already because like all I wear is long sleeves when I'm outside.
It's funny, like when I'm guiding, I don't wear gloves because if I'm not fishing, my hands are literally like in my pockets, just waiting. Just
waiting for a fish.
Yeah.
You just are always in your pockets. You're just like, okay.
Like, all right, come on, guys. Got to hook one now.
Please. That one bit you 4 times. Yep, it still got it. Nope, set the hook. Yep, he still has it.
Yeah, and he's sitting in the back. He's like, set the hook. Set the hook.
You wouldn't believe how many times like he's got it. You got it. Like, just reel and set.
Swing that rod. Yep. Nope. Go ahead. Give it a pull. There you go.
I'll start getting like sarcastic. Like, do you want me to do it for you? Like, what do you mean? Set the hook.
And you need to start like posting TikToks of like you just tapping the butt end of the rod and I'm freaking out.
That's messed up. You can't do that.
I do it at least like 3 times a day to clients. Like I walk by and I just like, and they're like, "Oh, I missed." I'm like, "No, you didn't."
Rich said my exact thoughts.
Yeah.
So Captain Full is always playing pocket pool.
It gets toasty on the water.
Good gosh, we don't need to hear about this anymore. Well, boys, that was a fun show talking about unique baits and going through that new product showcase. I'm even more excited for Thursday night show, preluding the St. Lawrence River event next week.
I feel like we haven't watched Bassmaster in a long time. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Even the BPTs, like Wattsbire was like, felt like a month ago. There hasn't been a lot of events. I mean, there was NPFL, but honestly didn't even realize it was going on at the time.
I watched some of it.
Was it good?
Yeah,
a lot of largemouth were caught, I feel like.
This smallmouth deal, Trent Palmer, man, almost won that dang thing after only having 11 pounds the second day. He went back out on the big lake and chased smallmouth around again. It had like 22 pounds or something. It was fishing like pretty tough, it seemed. Like the weights weren't.
Post-spawn smallies, like 2 to 3 weeks after the post-spawn, like when they come off beds, they eat pretty good. But then all of a sudden, they just go into like vanish mode. And right now, we're in that time in Erie. It is my least favorite time to be out there because you could smash them one day, and the next day, they're just completely gone. So brutal. That's why I've been in the river, catching them on top waters and jerk baits.
Way more fun.
Brutal.
Yeah.
All right. Anything left for us to mention to the folks before we wrap this sucker up? Deacon, do you have a show coming up for Monday?
Yeah, folks. Yeah. It said at the beginning, but Todd Castledine.
Oh, Monday. Right. Duh.
It'll be exciting.
St. Lawrence River, Todd Castledine, and then on Tuesday Night Live next week is episode 300. So a reminder to folks that if you're in this right now, once this episode goes live on MP3, if you're listening, or if you're on YouTube right now, the episode will be up tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Eastern, to go and leave us a rating and review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And the rating, if you put episode 300 or something, obviously we'll so we know that you're actually submitting it through the rating and review. We'll get you guys 5 extra entries to that giveaway. If you're following us on Instagram or Facebook, we'll post that social media giveaway on Thursday morning, and it'll run until we'll announce the winner on Tuesday Night Live. And again, we're giving away stuff from all of our sponsors: Lithium batteries from X2, $200 gift card to Blackfish, Omnia swag packs, Hobie Eyewear swag packs, Do It Molds, the whole shebang. So again, get involved in that, and we'll remind you guys, especially if you're following us on social. But boys, anything else for the folks before we wrap this up? Cool. All right, folks, we appreciate y'all. We'll see you guys on Thursday night.